What's good, guys? So in this video, we're gonna be looking at a new tool today. This tool is called FlutterFlow. And this video is gonna be in several parts. In the first part of the video, we are gonna have an overview of the tool. We're gonna check out how it works, the UI, the logic, the databases it supports and stuff like that. And in the second part of the video, we are gonna be building a very, very simple app just to show you how the tool works so that you can compare it to some of the other tools or just get a general idea of how you can build apps using this tool. So let's begin. So here we are at FlutterFlow's homepage, and it says building apps has never been easier. And here's a little kind of a little demo, a little animated GIF of how the whole thing works really. And we can scroll down, build beautiful apps lightning fast, build stunning apps visually, easy data and API integration. We're gonna see for ourselves how that works. Multi-language apps, okay, that's very nice. Customize everything, visual action builder. Our visual action builder makes it easy to add complex action flows, custom widgets, custom functions even. That's interesting. Write custom code that you can use in the UI builder. If you prefer, just tell OpenAI's codex that you prefer and let it generate code for you. So this is interesting. You can actually write custom functions. Very, very cool. Deploy or download your code. Export clean code or deploy directly to the app stores. Now that's interesting. Take a look at this. We can look at, how it looks like, right? We can actually look at the code here. Take a look at this. There's the Fin wallet. Welcome back. And here we have the code for the login page. We have the code for the register account. Very cool. We're going to take a look at this when we are looking at the app. Hundreds of templates and components, in-app purchases and subscriptions. Here we have a bunch of testimonials, join over 140,000 users. Okay, so now we got a general idea, of what the app is supposed to do, how it's supposed to look, what's it supposed to do for us, all right? So now that we have a little introduction, let's go in and log in into the app, into your free account, into my free account, and let's kind of play around with it a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Let's just, dive a little bit deeper into the UI and all the other functionality. So I already created an account previously. So I'm going to log in into my own account. But for you, if you don't have an account, you can simply start for free by clicking this button here. So here I am logged in. And this is the free plan. It says, welcome to FlutterFlow. Visually build Flutter apps. Create a new project to get started. So let's create a new project, right? So when we do that, we have a bunch of templates, okay? This is nice. And it's similar to other tools. If you use that other tools, you get pretty much the same screen. We are going to start with a brand new blank app. We're not going to use a template. So we're going to click here. We're going to call it sample Flutter app, okay? Very descriptive, I know that. And it's telling us, welcome to FlutterFlow. Congrats on starting your first project. It has this introduction. We're going to skip that. We're going to say start building. And now we are at the screen. So let's have a quick kind of overview of what's happening, okay? So on the left-hand side, we have these tabs here, okay? And here, if you click on this, you have your pages and components selection. So this is where you create new pages, okay? Right now, we only have one page, home page. And if you click on components, we don't have any components, okay? We'll get to that in a bit. We have pages. So I can click on this and I can create a new page, which is something we're going to be doing as soon as we're going to start building our sample, very, very simple app a little bit later in the video. If you click on this, you're going to be at the UI builder. Here we have most frequently used components, and this is text, column, row, container, app bar. And then we have layout elements, right? We have our grid view, we have our spacers, we have a lot of cool stuff. We have base elements, so we have a bunch of other elements. We have a YouTube player where we can play YouTube videos. We have a map. We have a lot of interesting things, and you can actually search here. You can type map, and you got Google Maps, static map, circle image, right? You can type list. You have list view. You have list title, right? Slightly different. Checkbox list title, switch list title. A lot of interesting things. If you click on this, you have components, okay? We don't have any components right now. You can create components, as you will see. We can click on here and you have templates, okay? These are templates. So if you hover over, you can see templates are reusable elements that make developing apps faster. You can use templates provided by FlutterFlow or create your own. Templates are shared across your project. So if you come in here, we have a kind of an empty list, right? So this is an empty list if you know, you have a list, but you know it's empty. So you gotta display something else. In this example, it tells us seems you don't have any order. So if you have like, if you're building kind of an Uber clone and they need to go to their order list page, you can show this. This is actually very, very cool. And so there's a bunch of templates and stuff like that. This thing is the widgets tree, right? So if it's a quick way to kind of see all of your elements, how they are right here on the page. We scroll down. This is where we get into the databases, and I'm going to cover that in a bit. If you come in here, we have something called Firestore. And Firestore is actually a document-based database that's hosted by Google. Very, very cool database. I'm going to show you in a second how it works. And here you can kind of set it up. You have settings. You can create collections. I'm going to show you that in a second. Quickly moving along, we have local state. This is where you can define variables you want to store on the device across different pages. Okay, so you can create a state variable and you can have it persisted, which means that it's going to be saved between different invocations of the app. So if they launch the app, they're using it, and then they quit the app. If you select this, it's going to be saved. If you don't, once they exit the app, that variable is gone. Okay, so you can do that. What do we have? We have API calls. So for APIs, you know, it supports APIs, but we need to upgrade. Okay, it's not part of the core package. Okay, but that's fine. We have Google's Firebase that you can use. All right, here we have project media assets. Okay, this is where you can upload images, upload a bunch of assets that your project might have, images, other non-code stuff, right? Images, maybe documents, files. Here we have custom functions, and here we have settings. Okay. Now that I talked about the left-hand side, let's quickly talk about what's on the right-hand side. So if I drag a component here, right? Let's say I drag a, I don't know, text, right? I drag it here. I have it here. On the right-hand side, I have properties for this text component. So as you can see, there are text properties. I can make it title 1, right? Now it's a little bit bigger. I can change the font weight, the font size, text color. I can do, pretty much everything, right? What's cool about it is we have properties here, but we also have actions. Okay, so if I add an action, take a look at this. We have a type of action on tap, on double tap, on long press. Now, if you watched one of my previous video, I think it's the one before this one, you will know that I talk about what kind of things you need to know whenever you're learning a new tool. And one of the things is you need to know what kind of actions does the tool support. This is very important because you can configure different ways your app can respond, can interact with various events that the user might do. So if the user taps, you can do that. If it double taps, you can do that. Long press, you can do that. And so this is an action. So we're defining an action here. We can say on tap, we can say navigate back, wait, or database, do all kinds of things. And then we're going to do all that once we start building the app here. Okay, so we can actually delete this action, okay? We're not going to have an action. Moving right along, we have a backend query. So this is important if you're building a list, which we're going to be doing in just a second. And here you can set up kind of the data that it's going to populate this list with. Here we have animations, okay? So you can add an animation, on page load, an action trigger. So if something is triggered, right? If something is triggered, it's going to have an ease in, ease out, it might bounce. You can do a lot of very interesting animations. So I'm going to delete that for now. All right. So I don't want to talk about this too much because we're going to be, once we start building the app, we're going to be working with the screen a lot. So it's much better to see it in action. And there's a couple of other things, right? You can click on this and you can see the app bar style, right? There's this little button near the app bar, and so you can change it with this back button. You can do it like this, you can do it like this. It's really up to you, and that saves it. And all of this is editable, right? All of this is completely editable. Like for instance, this whole thing is a row. As you can see, it's a row. These are this whole thing is a column, excuse me, and these are rows inside of it, right? You can all edit that, right? Here we have different versions. So this is kind of the first version. I can create a new version. I can revert to the old version. Very, very nice. Here I can preview on different screens, right? iPad mini 5, iPad 9, iPad Air 4, desktops, right? Different MacBook Air, MacBook, new MacBook Pro, whatever. Like you can preview how the app is gonna look. Very, very cool stuff. You can generate code for it, right? View code and all that. We're gonna get to that in a second. All right. So now that we covered kind of an overview of the screen, right? The next thing that we want to do is we want to build a simple app, because a lot of things are gonna make a lot more sense as soon as we start building an actual app. So let's do that. So what I want to do is I'm going to delete that, and I want to create a simple app. So I'm going to have a list here, right? I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to find my list. So actually, I'm going to search for it. If I search for a list, we have a list view here. We're going to drag and drop that right here, and it says example list. Now, what you want to do is you want to go in here, back in query, and you want to say query collection, and you want to say customers. We only have customers. Our query type is list of documents, because if we go back here, we have a list of documents. We have 2 documents here. So if we go back, that's kind of what we want. We're going to say save. The next thing you want to do is you want to go back to the UI screen here, and you want to drag and drop a text, because we need to display that data correctly. So if I drag and drop that text right into the list, and if I go to the hierarchy, I can see that the list view has a text. And you can also have a row there and then have various text. So for instance, I have a row here, and I can just take this text and I can duplicate it. Now we have 2 pieces, two text elements next to each other. So for instance, this one here, the first one, we can set it from a variable, and we can say this is going to be a first name. Okay, hit save. The second one could be the last name. Okay, customer records, last name. And now we have a list, first name, last name. And obviously you can format it as you want, but this is kind of what we have here. First name, last name as a list. As you can see, it's kind of like a list. So let's run this app and see what we get. We're going to hit run. It says we are building your app. All right, there you have it. It built the app, and as you can see, we have our 2 records. We have the first name, last name, first name, last name, exactly how we expected it. Now, let's make a couple of small changes so I can show you a little bit of some more functionality of this really cool tool. What we're going to do is we're going to create another page here. We're going to go back up here, and I'm going to create another page. And I'm just going to call it page 2. I'm going to say a blank page. We have page 2. So this is a blank page. And what I want to do is I want something simple. I want to click on it, and I want this page to simply display the text that I clicked, okay? So actually first, let's go back to the second page, and let's drag and drop a text that's going to display whatever we clicked, okay? Now the next thing that you want to do, once you define this this text widget here that's going to display whatever data you're passing, is you want to hit anywhere on the page, like for instance on this blank screen here, this blank part, and you're going to have page, and you want to create a parameter. So if you highlight, we're defining parameters that this page is going to grab. So we're going to come in here, we're going to add a parameter. And this parameter, I'm just going to call it param1. Okay, this is going to be the data we're going to be passing from the other page. And the type is going to be string. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Now this page knows that there's a parameter that it's going to be getting. That way we can pass that parameter. So if I go back to the other page, so if I go in here, I go to the home page, I come in here, now I can add an action. So I was here, I can come in here, add an action. I could add an action, and the action is going to be navigate to page 2. Okay, so this is the action. Untap, navigate to page 2, and we can actually pass a parameter. Okay, so we have that parameter. This page, the second page, is expecting a parameter, and we can pass the right parameter. So we can click here. We're passing this parameter, param1. Here we can choose specific value or from variable. We want from variable because we're not passing a specific value. We're going to say source, customer's record, available option is first name, okay? Because that is what we have. We're passing first name, okay? That's it. So now when we click on this first row, it's going to grab the first name and it's going to pass it over. Now we're not done here. We're going to go to page 2. We're going to go in here and we're going to set it from a variable. Source is going to be param1. So it knows it, param1. Default value, we don't have a default. Or we can say something like no variable passed or something like this. Okay, we're going to hit save. Okay, so now it knows param value. So now if you run it, it should hopefully do what we want it to do. So it's building it again. Okay, so here's the app. And this is the moment of truth. If we click on it, what do we see? We see Jane there. I go back, I hit John, we see John. So it's doing it exactly what we wanted to do. So now we can go back. And there's one more thing I want to show you, okay? If we run the app, you can see that it's displaying the data. Now, if I go in here, if I go to our database and I modify something, so we have Jane Doe, I can say that her name is Rebecca. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Now we have Rebecca Doe and we have John Doe. If I refresh this app, you see it refreshed automatically. It says Rebecca Doe, John Doe, because the data it's getting is real time. Or if I go in here and I go to John Doe and I say James Doe, James NoCode here, and I go back to our tool and it says James NoCode. I can change the resolution. Rebecca Doe, James NoCode, because the data that it's getting is real time. It's not being cached or anything like that. It's absolutely real time and you're getting the right data. And so that is all that I wanted to show you guys in today's overview and a quick tutorial. Obviously, there's a lot of features in this tool. There's a lot of advanced functionality. You can do amazing, amazing things. So if you guys want to see a more detailed, a more comprehensive video in the future, make sure you hit a like on this video, leave a comment below letting me know what you think about this tool, letting me know how excited you are to see more videos and more content about this tool, and I will gladly create another video and I will show you some more advanced functionality. If you have a question about Google's Cloud Firestore, this thing here, how it works, I can create another video that will teach you exactly how it works and why it works so well, so that you can start using it in your own projects. And so like this video, let me know in the comments below what you think. Also, do not forget to subscribe to this channel if you are interested in building apps without writing a single line of code. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.